Jesus, God's Son, traveled everywhere sharing stories of God's love and healing people. Crowds followed him, eager to listen and be near him. One sunny day, Jesus and his disciples tried to rest on a grassy hillside by a sparkling lake. But soon, a huge crowd found them, families, children, everyone wanting to hear Jesus. They sat on the grass, forgetting to bring food, too excited to care. Jesus looked at the thousands gathered, his heart full of love. He welcomed them and told simple, beautiful stories about God's kingdom. The people listened, forgetting their hunger and tiredness, drawn in by Jesus' words. The disciples watched, amazed at the crowd's devotion. The hillside was covered with people, all wanting to be close to Jesus. The day was peaceful and full of hope. No one wanted to leave. They felt safe and loved with Jesus. They didn't know it yet, but Jesus was about to show them just how much he cared. As the sun dipped lower, rumbling tummies echoed across the hillside. The people had listened all day and were now very hungry. The disciples grew worried. There were no shops or food nearby, and the crowd was huge. Philip told Jesus, "It's late, we should send everyone to buy food." Even with lots of money, it wouldn't be enough to feed so many. But Jesus smiled, already knowing what he would do. He wanted to show his friends that with God, nothing is impossible. Jesus asked, "Where can we buy bread for all these people?" The disciples were confused, seeing only the problem, not the solution. They hadn't learned yet that when you give God what you have, he can make it more than enough. The big grumbly tummy problem was about to become a miracle. All eyes turned to Jesus, waiting to see what he would do. Andrew, one of Jesus' friends, found a little boy with a small basket. "He has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish," Andrew said, "but what good is that for so many?" The boy could have kept his lunch, but instead, he offered it to Jesus with a willing heart. Jesus smiled warmly and accepted the boy's gift as a treasure. The disciples didn't understand, but Jesus told them, "Have everyone sit down in groups." The crowd settled on the grass, curious and hungry. The little boy's simple act of sharing was exactly what Jesus needed. The hillside was filled with anticipation. Jesus stood with the small lunch in his hands, ready to show everyone something amazing. The disciples organized the people, still puzzled. The crowd grew quiet, sensing something special was about to happen. Sometimes the smallest gift can lead to the biggest miracle. All eyes were on Jesus and the little basket. The miracle was about to begin. Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up to heaven, and thanked God. He broke the bread and gave it to the disciples to share. Miraculously, the bread and fish never ran out. There was always more to give. The disciples handed out food to everyone, amazed as the supply kept coming. The impossible was happening before their eyes. Every person, children, parents, grandparents, ate until they were full. The hillside buzzed with joy and laughter as hunger disappeared. Jesus had fed thousands with one small lunch. He cared for their hearts and their hunger. The disciples' doubt turned to wonder as they saw God's power at work. The people realized they were part of something extraordinary. Jesus' love was more than words, it was action. The miracle filled both stomachs and spirits. The crowd would never forget this day. Jesus had shown them the true meaning of God's love. When everyone was full, Jesus told his disciples to gather the leftovers. They filled 12 baskets, far more than they started with. The people marveled at the abundance from one small lunch. Jesus didn't just provide enough, he gave more than enough. The miracle showed that God's love is generous and overflowing. The hillside glowed with happiness as the sun set. The people knew they had witnessed something special. This story reminds us that even our smallest gifts can become great in Jesus' hands. When we share and trust him, he can do more than we imagine. The little boy's lunch became a feast for thousands. Jesus' love is always more than enough. The people left with full hearts and full tummies. They would always remember the day Jesus turned a small gift into a miracle.